All right.
Yeah.
That's the advantage of having the production just in the same building, you know?
Yeah, it is. I see some key threes and some Bowers and Wilkins at the back. Is that right?
Yes, yes. Do we want us to show them a little bit better
Oh
or
no,
not?
no, it's fine. I was just looking at it. I thought, hey, okay, good setup, good setup. Well, this is Michelangelo from Volumio. Um,
Hello.
I think it would be helpful if you introduce yourself for our viewers, say who you are, and after that, I think it's nice if you can talk about Volumio a little bit, what you do. I mean, you have software, but you obviously also have hardware. But let's just start with who is Michelangelo?
Well, thanks for having me. Really, actually, I am a music lover. I'm a music lover. I like to think I'm an innovator because what I really enjoy is doing things which were not done before, and maybe things that the world doesn't know it needs. This is what I actually enjoy the most. And yeah, since I was a kid, I remember that I was listening to music all the time. I was modifying my parents' stereo system. It was a Philips back in the days. And so it all came, as a jigsaw puzzle together now. So I feel very lucky that I'm able to live my dream, to live my passion. I started Volumio out of total chance, really. I was still in university doing my thesis. I was studying psychology. So
Okay.
this is where my background lies. Yeah.
Oh wow, that's not
And
something you see that often.
well, yeah, I think so. But I really like this path that I took because, for example, if my background would have been technical, I think that I would have approached also what I do today from a technical standpoint.
True.
Instead,
Yeah.
coming from a humanistic background, I start instead from the value we should give to whoever uses our solutions. So I start really from the human side, and then, of course, decline it into technical objective and specifications and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I hope
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
is reflected in Volumio. So
I
yeah,
think
I
so.
started Volumio as a side project, doing doing a simple operating system to listen to music. Because back then, one of my jobs, again, was restoring old turntables and hi-fi gear. I just started into Wi-Fi, so I didn't have much money. So the only way, for me to get Hi-Fi components was restoring them for me and others. And I got a turntable. First time I listened to a vinyl record, I still remember I discovered that there was so much more to hear in music that I was not hearing with digital music. And
Yeah.
and at some point I said, but wait, there must be a way to listen to digital files, which I had plenty also at the time, with the same quality, with the same emotional connection that I was getting from the vinyl record. So this is how Volumio started. It was me trying to figure out if it was possible to get the best out of digital files. And so incidentally, the Raspberry Pi came out, and I
Yeah.
thought, this is perfect because it's very cheap, it's very common, very easy to get, and the circuit layout was very simple. So I thought, okay, maybe I don't have all these EMI interferences that I would get with a normal PC. Plus, I don't get the noise.
Yeah.
And yeah, this is how I started Volumio. There was no solution at the time for the Raspberry Pi, and I just did it. I just put it online just to share, and to my big surprise, a lot of people started using it and commented and say, "Hey, can you improve this, and that?" So it became my hobby until I understood that actually there was a need for such a system, and I quit my job and became Volumio full time, and I had the luck of being able to build a team of people which wanted to join the project and make it for the better.
up to then, it was just you.
Well, it was me at the beginning, but not much really. After just few months, other team members joined because the project was getting recognition on the internet, and so in the purely open source way, which I still think is the best way to build software which have an impact.
Yeah.
They just some people just came and asked if they could contribute, and again they were doing because they liked it, because they had this passion. It was not because it was their job. So this is, in my opinion, this is what fueled, especially at the beginning, Volumio improving so much, thanks to this collaborative approach that there was and there still is.
Yeah, yeah. I agree. Open source is definitely a way to make good progress and improve the software, and not make it too expensive. Of course, it's. But you don't only do software, because a lot of people know Volumio from the software, and it's great software. But you also make hardware now. Or
Yeah.
When did that start actually? Because we also know, we of course know the Primo and the Rivo and the Amplify Integro, and now the Motivo, which we'll talk about later. But are those the first pieces of hardware you built?
Well, let me go back a little bit to answer your question. We discovered that what we do at Volumio is not software, is not hardware, is not cloud, is not aggregation, technology. Our goal is to provide the best music listening experience. This is the core of what we do. And all the things that we just mentioned are means to an end, are the way that we can make tangible these experiences. So it came very natural after doing the software, which, however, needed some technical knowledge to be installed on Raspberry Pi and set up. So it was not for everyone. So we realized that not all people could access this experience, and it was not optimal. So the natural point, the natural evolution, was to make an hardware to complement the software, and together they should provide a great listening experience without the need to have a specific technical knowledge or inclination in that sense. And this is true to what we do today. All our products, all the software we do, all the cloud services and everything is just what we think that music enjoyment should be. What is the experience that they want to do? And so the hardware has been the first step, pretty much like what Apple does. So Apple's controls both the hardware and the software, and this is why they are so good at the experience. People like them because of that, right? So we simply followed that approach. And it started with the Primo, which, since we lack a lot of fantasy, means first in Italian, because it was our first product. Right?
Well, what does Rivo mean?
Well, Rivo is first an homage to the city of Riga, where Rixbox, which co-designed with us, the Rivo, and it means small river in Italian. Because again, it's a digital streamer for liquid music. So you see, it comes from,
okay,
So we improved in naming at least with Rivo. So we just decided to make Primo, again, to embody, to give a tangible physical representation of that, and to allow more people to enjoy what Volumio had to offer. Yeah. And to our big surprise, it just got sold out in a few hours, the first production batch. So what started as, as an experiment, so it then showed that there was a need for that, and we had something to say. Of course, this is our philosophy, and we are lucky today that we have so much choice. But since then, we have been bringing forward what we believe is the quintessential best musical reproduction experience with our products. They contain our our philosophy inside.
And now it's time for the Motivo.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Because thank you for the introduction of Volumio. People now know what you do and why you do it, the way you do it. I think Primo and Rivo were introduced 2 years ago, or maybe
A little
longer.
bit less, but yeah, 1 year and a half ish,
Oh,
1 year
really?
and 3 quarters, we can say. Yeah,
Ah, okay. Well, time flies, but not that fast then.
it does. It does.
Now it's the Motivo. And I must say, when I unboxed it, I was pleasantly surprised by how it's built. It's very sturdy and it looks great. Big touchscreen
Yeah.
on the top, and at the back we see a lot of connections, including some balanced ones also for headphones. But before we get to that, why the Motivo and why in this form factor? Because it's radically different from the others.
Yeah. I could speak for hours about this, but let me tell you again that this is, first of all, has been a cooperation with Design Narratives, Thomas Ortiz Ferrer, our industrial designer, which is a great man to work with, a great designer. He sees things which I don't. And the whole concept of motivo in Italian means meaning. And this is important to understand what the product is. Because we wanted to embody in one device the relationship that we have with music. So digital music is great because it's so convenient, but we lost the physical connection to it.
Absolutely.
Which is something that, especially new generations, but I would say everyone appreciates. Like, the vinyl have this relation with media item.
Yeah.
Plus, sometimes controlling a music player via an app is not always convenient. There are people which don't like it, and moments where even I do music technology, music app, I don't like it. I want sometimes really to just press something and just plays. I want something immediate and something visual. Also, the visual part is extremely important because, again, music is not only a sensory experience.
True.
Plus, I should say one of the most popular audio devices of all time was the Squeezebox Touch.
Yep.
So combining all of this together, and we just said, okay, let's try to make a product which is the Squeezebox Touch, the next generation Squeezebox Touch, which restores this physical relation which we have with music, and which allows everyone, if they like using a mobile phone or not, just enjoy music. So this was the whole concept behind it.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I think that it works because also we wanted to design a product which fits equally well on top of your main rig. So you can put it on the top and you will be able to see the visually and go there and touch it if you like, or have it as a desktop player. For example, it works great as a desktop streamer and headphone amplifier. So it has this dual purpose. It's not just design, but there's also function which follows the form.
Well, that makes sense about the Squeezebox Touch. I didn't even think about that, and I had one. So the whole touch element, it's a pretty big screen. And you can practically do everything on it. Even the setup is done with the screen, so people don't need the app to set it up. That's very convenient. And what struck me was that there are outputs for headphones with high and low impedance. So was it the intention to focus also on the Headphone market? Because the Primo and the Rivo obviously don't. And this one is, well, it's also very suited for headphone use.
Yeah. And there's a nice story about that, actually. And
Okay.
no, it was not initially intended to be an headphone product as well. But you remember before when I told you, you need to involve music lovers or people which have a passion in
Yeah.
what you are doing, like the open source. So when we initially conceptualized Motivo, which was 3 or 4 years ago, we decided to involve our community into the design. So we did this co-design initiative, and we sent out various feedback forms, and there was various sessions throughout the design process asking, guys, we are doing this product, we are imagining like that, what would you do, what
Ah,
would you add, what do you think it should have? So we made a lot of questions, and more than 600 people participated into this co-design, and various parts of the Motivo has been designed like they are because of those feedbacks.
okay,
So,
cool.
the design team has been, it's made of 600 people. And the number one request that emerged from this co-design process was headphone out.
Really?
All right. So, yeah, really, this was the number
Okay.
one request. So, fun fact, we said, okay, let's do headphone output. No problem.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, but however, as you notice, the back of the device is already very cramped.
Yeah, 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 it
There's no
is.
space for an additional
No.
headphone socket, of course, and we didn't want to compromise the proportions, the because it's just right. So
Yeah.
we came up with the idea of using these connectors, which are both good for the XLR outputs, but they also accept 6.1 jack.
Yeah.
And so we designed, of course, the circuitry inside with the best amplifier available, with the best dual power supply and everything. And we ended up with two possible sockets. And we said, how could we make, why just have one? You have two sockets. And again, we said, how can we make it the most useful possible? And when it comes to headphone lovers. And again, the idea came from the community.
Yeah.
Some people use very high impedance headphones and some low. You can, of course, make a circuitry which is optimized for both, but you're not extracting the best performance. So we
No.
said, okay, let's make two different output stages, differentiated, optimized, one for high and one for low output headphones. And this is why Volumio has this feature now.
Yeah,
And yeah,
you had me confused for a small time because the outputs are inverted. It's not a male output. So I wanted to
yeah,
connect it to the amp, and I was like, "What? It's the other way around." But you supply the cables in the box.
yeah.
I don't read manuals. I just pulled it out, connected it. I was like, "What? Okay, this is weird." And then I thought, okay, I have to look further in the box, and there are the cables in the box, of course. But so for the people that don't read any manuals or just connect it, the cables are in the box. But it makes sense, and it's actually quite clever the way you did it. I was pleasantly surprised, and I listened to it already. The quality is very good, and it sounds like a Primo as well. So I was wondering, is is this based on the Primo for as a design? Because it does sound very, very similar in my set.
Well, our principle is that you don't change a winning team, right? So
No.
in the Motivo, you will find an improved version of the circuitry that you find inside Primo and
Ah,
inside Ribo.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
People already love this sound signature, and our customers they want that. They are attached to that.
yeah.
So we said, okay, we take these pieces of designs which are already established, already tuned and tweaked to the maximum, and we just improve them. So we did with the analog section of the circuit inside Motivo, you find, for example, a better filtering of the power supply, better output stage. Let's say the core philosophy is the same that you find on Primo, but with a lot of tweaks around it to make it better. And the same goes for the digital part. Rivo is praised for being one of the best possibly digital transport in its price category. And again, why change that? Let's try to improve that. So again, there are further tweaks also for the digital part.
That's good, because you know that we use them a lot in our reviews, and I do like the sound, both. And indeed, the Revo is a very good transport for its price, and I do like the signature of the Primo. Of course, you have to see it in its price class. Yes, they're better streamers, but you pay a lot more. But you can tweak a Primo to a ridiculous quality if you want to. We connected power supplies up to 3,000 euros to it, and you still hear a difference. That's the crazy part.
Yeah, and the good news, for example, power filtering is one of the things which we have improved there. So Motivo will sound already better without the need of a better power supply, of course, to get to the extra 100% of the performance is still suggested, but
we're all hi-fi nerds, so we'll probably tweak it to see where we can get with this. But I didn't see the price of the Motivo yet, or am I not looking? I noticed it was on the website yesterday, on the Volumio website. So that's a good thing, but I didn't look any further for the price. But maybe you can enlighten us.
Of course. So again, the main reason for Motivo is to be our flagship streamer, transport, and headphone amp. So it's priced accordingly. In euros, we are talking about 1,750 euros. And also, I need to check for the dollars and all the other currencies where we, of course, is sold worldwide. And we are talking about 1,849 US dollars. And if instead you live on the other side of the English channel, that's going to be 1,499 quids for you. First of all, to do something which had a great price quality ratio, as we always do.
Yeah.
And to the matter of fact, that's interesting to consider. If you want to replicate, at least on a functional level, all the things which went into Motivo with DIY, for example, with a Raspberry Pi, we made some calculations like, okay, you get a Raspberry Pi, power supply, USB reclocker, galvanic isolation, reclocker, touchscreen, and all the other things that compose Motivo, dual headphone amplifier, blah, blah, blah. It will cost way more than what the Motivo costs.
I can imagine.
You have to build it yourself, So that's super interesting in my opinion. And again, and we wanted to target a price point which was not addressed yet. I believe there are not many competitors in the price point which can deliver what the Motivo does.
It's really strange. Between 1,000 to 2,000 euros, there's a big gap of streamers that are good, usable. There's just not a lot. There's a lot beneath 1,000 euros, and there's a lot above 2,000 euros. But in between, there's not a lot of choice in high quality gear. So that's it's smart to position it there. Of course, I was hoping on 1,500, but you did your calculations, of course. What was the biggest design challenge of Motivo?
That's a very good question. I would name at least, for example, the connection between the processor and the digital, and the DAC, for example, if we're talking about the analog part.
Yeah,
So there
which
was,
deck do you use?
well, we used the Sabre 1938. Again, in my opinion, the best that you can get as of now, at least for my and our customers' preferences.
Yeah,
But yeah, uh, thanks for this question, because everyone looks at which DAC you use, but they forget to consider that how the DAC is connected to the actual processor makes a huge amount of difference. But
yeah.
nobody noticed that or looks for in the specifications.
No.
And of course, we had various choices there. Either go with the direct I2S connection. There were many. In the end, having evaluated the many different options, we went to USB to I2S, and not just one USB with I2S. We involved Amanero Technologies, which coincidentally is 40 minutes from Florence, from here. And yeah, they slightly they provided us with a lot of consultancy on how to customize the Amanero solution for the specific purpose that we had in mind. And the specific was, jitter as low as possible, reclocking, and the result is great. But it was really challenging to, in such a complete product, to find the ideal connection without, esoteric and super expensive solutions. Because also there is not only the analog path, but also the digital path, which again is very similar and improved from Revo, that needs to be taken into account. And the two circuits, they do not have to overstep each other. So there was
No,
it was challenging
true.
also this part.
But I don't. I hear a lot of people say now digital doesn't matter. It's all ones and zeros, and if they're there, it's good. But I think they forget how complex it can be indeed to do it correctly, keep the timing good, jitter low, and all stuff like that in a small box like this with a lot of computing going on inside. I can imagine it's not easy to make it all work and sound good.
It's very challenging. It's very challenging, and you need to add on top of that, of course, you need to be compliant with all the regulations. So you don't have to overshoot the digital signals, otherwise you don't meet EMI regulations. And so it's a balance. It's a balancing act, as always, which comes at a cost of R&D. Another thing people don't consider, that into the price of this product, there are 3 years of research and development by a team of 5 people working in software, hardware design, and everything to get to the results that we have today. So it's also this has to be considered.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. There's one thing though, actually 2 things that caught my attention when I was testing the unit. One is more like some advice that I would do if I were Volumio. And the other one is just a question, maybe you didn't notice it. Will there be an upgrade power supply for this unit or other units made by Volumio? Considering the step in quality you will make?
Stay tuned. This is what I can say at the moment.
Okay, because it would be really, really smart to do that. It's an easy upgrade. It works. And the sound improvement is just ridiculous sometimes if you connect a better power supply. Yeah.
Let's say that we always design our products to have a lot of filtering inside. So the need of linear power supply is, or let's say the marginal advantage that you get is lower compared to other products. But it's also true that up to a certain performance level, you can get there only starting with the cleanest possible power supply.
Yeah, so I have to admit,
it would be great if we put this knowledge also to a standalone power supply, which can be used with our products, also with other products. if you want to discover if we are smart or not, just stay tuned. This
Stay
is all I
tuned.
can say.
Okay. And now I'm getting old. You can see that on camera now. But if I want to use the touchscreen, I can still read it and use it even with my big hands. But it feels like it's the web GUI on this device. And
Yeah.
I would really think it would be better usable, more usable, if the buttons would just be bigger or the interface would be specifically tuned for a touchscreen. That's the only thing. And Martijn and I were just thinking, and it looks great. I think the design is lovely, but the touchscreen for older people or people with really big hands would be, hard to use in some cases, I think.
Thank you for the feedback. And actually, this is what we look forward to improve our products. The fact that, again, we are in charge of both the hardware and the software means that we can deliver updates super quickly following feedbacks. Yeah. Motivo is out since 1 week, and we already received many feedbacks from our internal circle of moderators and developers, and already a new release has been released today addressing some of these.
Oh, really? Okay, that's quick.
Because of course we have worked a lot on improving the existing user interface for Motivo. So it's not the same. It contains many tweaks. But for what you just said, for example, the next release will have a selectable zoom, so you can select. How big you want to see it or how small you want to see it, and possibly some other upgrades. And I encourage everyone to just give us feedbacks of what you want to have improved. And this is really important for us because, again, if you want to do what I think to make music lovers happy, you have to listen to music lovers and who uses your product.
It's true. I wish more companies were like that. Some just say, take it as it is. It's if you bought it, it's okay. But they never listen. At least I don't have the feeling they really listen to their customers.
Let me suggest one thing for you and for the viewers here. One thing that's inside of Motivo is what we are trying to achieve moving forward, focusing on the discovery part. Mm-hmm. So inside Motivo, you have the AI super search. So again, you type what you want to listen, like smooth jazz with female voices, and our AI super search gets a playlist of at least 20 tracks from the services you have configured. So, for example, if you have Spotify, Tidal, and local files, this playlist will be populated from what you have. We also have the infinity playback. So when the playlist finishes, we just keep on playing similar things for you. And this is the direction we are going. What makes music special is that sometimes it's a journey. Where there are days where I listen to music all day long and I start from funk from the 80s to classic, and I get there. Inside Motivo, there's a lot of that we recommend albums. You can really start from one artist and do a musical journey which will never end. It ends when you finish time to listen to music. And this is especially great with Motivo because it's always there. You just tap, click. It's a very nice rabbit hole discovery mode. And this is what we are going for the future. We believe that we may have a recipe of using artificial intelligence for a true tangible benefit when listening to music. Finding the right music in the right moment is very difficult because music is everywhere. There are so many services, so many choice. We want to help music lover get music which is truly meaningful for them.
I haven't discovered the AI yet, but I will. Now I've heard this, it sounds really interesting.
This is why I told you, because it's something you will be surprised, and I really look forward to hear what you say, what you think of it.
Okay. Thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, and you, thanks. It was a really interesting conversation, and I could speak for hours. This is what I and we in the team love to do.
Yeah.
And I hope it was entertaining and you learned something interesting today. So see you
Definitely.
in Munich, and thank you for the conversation.